2015 has some disappointments, some surprises, and some amazing games so far this year. What's my game of the year so far? Welcome to Press X. So this is my first opinion video that's not a countdown. I'm going to be doing this more often than not from now on. I will still be doing my countdown videos as I love numbered lists and I really do enjoy doing them. But I'm going to start doing these opinions where I just come up with a topic and kind of talk about it for a few minutes with you guys. With that said, the topic that I want to talk about this time is just my favorite games of the year so far and ones that I thought were going to be my favorite and they didn't quite make it for me. So I'm going to start out talking about Splatoon. This is a game that really took me by surprise. I didn't think I wanted it, I didn't have any interest in it, and then I picked it up and got addicted. I still play it to this day, and I always try to play a few rounds before I fall asleep, really. It's just quick action, 3-minute rounds, and it's super addicting. I don't think it's quite Game of the Year material, but they add new stuff every week. There was just 2 guns added this week. Last week or so, they added a new game mode. They added a map the week before that. They just constantly are updating the game and it's all free. So maybe by the end of the year, it'll all tie together, be a huge cohesive package, and it'll be the game of the year. We'll have to see if I'm still playing it then. Another really big one this year, which was another example of a game taking me by surprise, was Final Fantasy Type 0 HD. It's important to note that my definition of Game of the Year is different than a lot of websites. If the game came out this year on a console or PC, or it released on a different platform, then it's eligible. I don't care if it's a remake, I don't care if it's an upgrade. If it came out this year for a console, then that version of the game is my Game of the Year. With that said, Final Fantasy Type 0 HD fits into that category. I bought this game because the Final Fantasy 15 demo came with it, so I waited for reviews to make sure that the game wasn't trash, and then when it got decent 80s to 85s, I was like, okay, I'll pick it up and I'll play the 15 demo and I'll try out this game that seems like it's an above average game. I ended up not really liking the Final Fantasy 15 demo. I thought it was a little cumbersome and a little too Western for my tastes, and I fell in love with Type 0. The game has everything that I personally want out of the game. It had multiple characters where you could pick the ones that you wanted to work with and you could ignore the ones that you hated. It had a risk-reward system where the whole the whole theme of this game is risk versus reward, risking death to get some sort of advantage. They even have options in the game where they say, all right, if you can kill this guy in under a minute, you'll get some sort of boost. But if you fail, that character's dead on the spot. You have an arsenal of characters that you can switch from on the fly, but once they all die during a mission, that's when you get game over. With that said, you can sacrifice characters in order to summon giant summons for a short period of time, but then that character is dead for the remainder of the mission. It was just an awesome system with a very touching story, and it was very mature for a Final Fantasy game. The game focused around death, but unlike most of the other Final Fantasy games, this one was actually pretty bloody and gruesome, and I kind of liked that world. Another game that did not surprise me that I liked is Shovel Knight. I played the hell out of this game when it was released, and it's no surprise as a giant Mega Man fan, which this game clearly takes influence by. I played through and beat it in my first day. Then the next day I beat it on New Game Plus. Then I went through beating it without taking damage, without upgrading my weapons, things like that, in order to earn the Platinum Trophy in this one, and I'm still playing it once again. It has a great cross-buy feature. This fly. Oh, I got him. I got him real good. He was bothering me. Anyway, the game has a great cross-buy feature. It has, it works great on the Vita. It's got a great cross-save system, which I can't say for a lot of games. You can just start playing, upload your save, download it on your Vita, and you're ready to take it on the go with you. I love the sense of progression. You know exactly where you need to go, you know exactly how long the game is, and you know exactly what your goals are. It's not trying to trick you. It's just it takes a couple hours to beat it your first time, but then you can run through it in 40 minutes once you know what you're doing. This game was awesome. It's pure gameplay at its finest, and it does it really, really well. Shovel Knight right now is probably my number one. As far as some games that didn't quite get there, but I was excited about, The Order 1886 was a game that I enjoyed, but I can't say it's my game of the year just because all of these games that I've talked about, I've either gone back to or I've kept in the back of my mind constantly, or when a new game comes out, I compare it to it, and I just haven't done that with The Order. I did thoroughly enjoy the game, but after I beat it twice, I was done. Like, there was nothing else for me to do in the game, and that's really disappointing. I wish that they had unlockable weapons, unlockable skins, something to keep you going, but they don't. There's also a ton of games that I have not yet played, but I am excited for. I really liked Batman Arkham City, I really liked Batman Arkham Origins, and I'm sure I'll really like this Batman, though those wouldn't have been my game of the year in those times either. One that I do see that could possibly take it, and it is a lot of people's game of the year, is Bloodborne. The PS4 exclusive is the first one that people have really said this is the reason you need to own a PS4, though I haven't picked it up. I've always been interested in it, but just haven't gotten around to it. I think I'm going to get it here soon and try it out. Ori and the Blind Forest is another huge one that I think I'm going to like very much. I will be playing that very soon. And then finally, Her Story is a game that I've heard just ramblings of recently, but I think it's going to blow up to the stature of Gone Home. So with that said, I would say that Ori and the Blind Forest, Shovel Knight, Splatoon, and Final Fantasy Type 0 HD are the games from this half of the year that I feel like will be in contention for my game of the year towards the end. So here are some that I think may be in contention when they do finally release, assuming that they're all that they're cracked up to be. The obvious one for me is Mighty No. 9. I am incredibly excited. That's my most anticipated game of this year, and as long as it delivers on everything it looks like it's going to, that one could sweep it. Another big one is the Mega Man Legacy Collection for the same reasons as Shovel Knight and Mighty No. 9. A lot of people argue that PT, which would have been my game of the year last year, is not eligible, even though that doesn't make any sense. But I would take, if I had to pick a retail game, Danganronpa Goodbye Despair from last year. With that said, Danganronpa Ultra Despair Girls Danganronpa, another episode, comes out September 1st, and since a Danganronpa game was in the running last year, it seems like it could just be in the running this year. Tomb Raider is another one that looks awesome, and I'm very, very excited for, though I'm worried for because it does launch the same day as Fallout 4, which is going to eat it alive. Also, Metal Gear Solid 5. There is so many good games. So many good games this year. The only other big one that I can think of is Persona 5. If Persona 5 releases this year, I think it has a huge, huge, huge shot of taking the game of the year. I've loved all of the Persona games, and I think this one will be no different. It looks polished, it looks great. It's just a matter of will it come out in 2016 or 2015. I'm not even naming all the games I'm just excited for. These are all the ones that I legitimately think have a shot of winning my game of the year. So that should tell you something about this year's games. Those are my game of the year so far, and the games that I think have a shot of dethroning them later this year. What are your game of the year so far? There's been so many good choices, and the ones coming out are even crazier. Let me know in the comments down below. Like this video and subscribe for more content. I'm Kevin McManus, and I'll speak with you soon.